So we will start our session with Shanti Mantra. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavityam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Ma Vidvishavagai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Okay. So we were discussing about happiness, pursuit of happiness, which is experiential happiness. That's what we discussed in the last class. And we talked about dharma. We talked about adhikari bheda, the essential requirement of dharma for sustainable, lasting, experiential happiness also, acquirement of which does not pull us down but rather uplifts us in our consciousness and in our
ಟವರ್ ಹೊಡಿಕೊಂಡಿರ ಇನ್ನ ಕರೆದಲ್ಲಿ
You're talking to me?
Sorry, by mistake. Sorry. Network jam ಆಗಿಡ್ಚಿದೆ. Sorry, I will mute.
Put the So we were discussing about pursuit of happiness, experiential happiness. So see, the very word pursuit of happiness means experiential happiness, because eternal happiness should be described as discovery of happiness, because it is something that is already there. That is our own nature. So when I say pursuit, it means an experiential happiness that comes out of our sensory or mental experience, which is obtained after a certain period of time with some effort, right? Okay. So for that we have dharma, which is essential, and also it is dependent upon the quality of sattva. So the more the sattva, the higher is the form of happiness. The quality of happiness increases with the level of sattva. So that is the same point when we are also looking at the Anandavalli. There is a section in Anandavalli in Taittiriya Upanishad that describes various grades of happiness. We'll take one human happiness to be the happiness of a person, a young person, of good health, of good education, of good attitude, who owns all the wealth in this world, and he is capable of enjoying all the pleasures, etc., who is free from disease. That person's happiness is one human happiness. Like that, 100 times is the happiness of a Manushya Gandharva. Like that, 100 times is the happiness of a Deva Gandharva. Like that, 100 times is the happiness of all the other devas. Like that, it keeps on going up to Brahmaji. Right? So all these discussions, what central point they tell us is that the quality of mind, the nature of the prakriti, is the embodiment, the kind of embodiment that we get. This is called being in the body, is embodiment. The kind of embodiment that we get decides the capacity to experience the degree of happiness. So that decides the upper limit. Only so much of joy and experiential happiness, the vritti based happiness, is possible. Based on we have a nervous system, so based on the nervous system and the quality of the nervous system and all that. So basically, in short, the amount of sattva, the more sattvic the mind body constitution is, the prakriti is, the better will be the quality of happiness that we saw. And if whatever happiness is acquired through the right means of dharma will be lasting, and there will be least side effects. dharma of me, the pursuer, dharma of the means that I use, and all that. So the means, the end does not justify the means. When it comes to dharma, the means is as important as the end, sometimes more important as the end. So we saw that, and also we said it is the idea of sustainable long-term happiness, high quality happiness is basically the intelligent way to pursue happiness. So if you are intelligent and you understand actions and consequences, you will automatically follow dharma. Nobody wants, it is simple like that. If there is fire, nobody wants to put their hand in the fire. They want to use the fire for some productive purpose, cooking, etc. So nobody wants to go and hurt. When they know, once you know that the fire will hurt you, you will not go and put your finger in that. So similarly, once a person really sees and really understands that adharma is going to only hurt me first, before it hurts everybody else, before it hurts the environment, it's only going to hurt me. So obviously, nobody will try to. That person who understands will not try to pursue an experiential happiness through an adharmic means. Yeah. Also, the quality of health and our well-being becomes very important. The sensitivity of our sense faculties and all that becomes very important. The quality of our mind becomes very important in order to facilitate our enjoyment of different forms of happiness, both material and spiritual. And we also saw that happiness is one of the fundamental virtues, spiritual virtues. Seeking happiness and enhancing happiness, living for the sake of happiness, my happiness, others' happiness, everyone's happiness, is a spiritual virtue. Sadness is against spirituality. All these basic things we saw, and also we saw a very important uh, concept called adhikari bheda. Bheda means difference. Adhikari means aptitude, because the word adhikari has different meanings in different contexts. The he is the adhikari for that means he has the right to do that. You can say in that time. He is the adhikari for this department. Then you mean that person is the head, administrative head, or sarvadhikari, all that we say. So adhikari, the word has different meaning for different context. But in this context, when we are talking, also in that Bhagavad Gita shloka, karmanyeva adhikaraste, that shloka, the adhikari here means aptitude and empowerment. What am I empowered for in terms of study? For example, in Vedanta, sadhana chatushtaya, they say the fourfold qualifications of viveka, vairagya, mumukshutva, samadhi, shatka sampatti, discrimination, dispassion, the desire for liberation, and the sixfold inner virtues of sense control, mind control, etc. That makes a person adhikari for studying Vedanta, we say, right? So adhikari means qualification. You are qualified to, you are empowered to, you are capable of, you have the aptitude for. So in that sense, we have to take. So when in Karma Yoga, that shloka, when it says Karmanyeva adhikarahate, for you, the adhikari term is that you have adhikara only for doing your action. Means what? You are empowered to make a choice with regard to your action. You are not empowered to control the result. You can control what you can do, but once you have done, you have no control over the result. Hence, don't worry about the result. Surrender the result to God. Receive the result as prasada, etc. All the teaching comes. So, adhikari here, when I say adhikari bheda, is a very, very important concept in Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, which is the kryptonite for all the egoistic groups and people in the world. The whole problem of the common man not able to appreciate the depth of Hinduism not able to appreciate the depth of the teachings of the Vedic Sampradaya of Sanatana Dharma, not able to appreciate the depth of all the teachings of the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, etc., and Upanishads and Dharma Shastras, etc., is because they don't understand the importance and they don't understand clearly the fundamental concept of adhikari bheda. So when we have a certain objective attitude towards ourselves, we will not have a problem with adhikari bheda, right? Because if I am trying to acquire something for which I am not cut out for, I will not be able to enjoy what I have acquired. If I don't have the right state of mind, the right body, the right conditions, inner conditions, social conditions, etc., psychological conditions, if I am not cut out for something, but because of some socially picked up fake value, like for example, we have this uh, kind of so-called reformist movement where they say people from all social groups, irrespective of their birth, can become pujari in temple. It's a very ridiculous thing because there are temples for every community, and the people from that community are pujaris in the temple. And there are certain temples where it is cut out. And also there is, for example, if you want to study in a Veda Pashala, your jati or where you are born is very important. They will not take in people who are not born in a Dvija family, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, where there is no break in the Gayatri, all that, right? So with all that, they have a set of conditions. So they will not take in, and people have a problem with that. But then after this reformation, when they have a lot of, when they try to train people from all communities for priests, many of them left the course, many of them left the job and went somewhere else. They are not interested. They don't want to come and take because they see that it's practically not working out. So out of some kind of politically motivated fancy, you start something, then it doesn't work out. So similarly, for example, when I was growing up as a child, everybody wants their child to become an engineer or a doctor. Engineer, doctor, otherwise you are a CA or you are some, lawyer. Lawyer was going on during the 60s, I think, 60s, 70s. Lawyer was a big deal. And then it came down. So then when I was growing up, it was all engineer, doctor, nothing else. So if you don't get admission in engineering or medicine, it's like you are finished. Your whole life is gone. Right? So there are a lot of children and youth who are of artistic temperament, who would have shined very well in some other field, but they were all forced into it. Then you go through a frustrated life and all that, all these conflicts. It's all because most of the stress of today's world is because we don't understand adhikari bheda and see what I am cut out for. Be very objective about myself and what I am cut out for, and learn to shine and enjoy for things for which I am cut out. Then in that case, I'll be able to have an enduring success and a sustainable kind of happy and harmonious life with the least side effects and the least stress. So the same concept applies for material things and also for spiritual. So this adhikari bheda is the most difficult thing to understand and appreciate from this dharma. Once you get that, then all the different rules, regulations, recommendations, suggestions, injunctions, prohibitions, everything falls in place. The whole dharma falls in place. You have absolutely no complaints about the dharmic structure because you have understood adhikari bheda. And we develop a kind of objectivity towards ourselves and others. And we don't have all these fake values that have crept into the society. Like, if you are born in that community, you are low. If you are born in the other community, you are high. The whole Varnashrama Dharma is not based on any, somebody is superior than the other. It is about everybody being equally important for this organism called society. So that was the whole point of Varnashrama Dharma, and each one has to play the role. And based on the genetic selection over so many generations, if you are born in a certain family which has been devoted to a certain kind of profession for generation after generation, generally, if you take, in most cases, exceptions apart, if you take up that profession, they say this is my kula dharma. If you take that up, you will somehow, it will come more naturally to you than when you would try something else. And there is dignity in that. So we don't, we are here to, then when we do that, we also maintain the social respect for that. We don't allow fake narratives to come and belittle one kind of occupation over another kind of occupation. So, you kind of increase a fake value of one kind of occupation and make it look like if you are doing this job, you are a superior person, then you are doing the other job. Nothing like that. So all these fake values, we will be able to keep out and protect the society from all this if a person takes up to this concept, a dharmic approach to profession, to selection of vocation, etc. So these are all different fundamentals on which uh, the the teachings of dharma has been guiding society to pursue a sustainable form of happiness with the least struggle and the least amount of side effects, both at the individual level and collective level. So with that, we conclude this topic. And when it comes to personal practice like sadhanas also, it is important to choose the right kind of practice. I said, I also mentioned about Vamachara Tantra, where they embrace their uh, desires, and then from there, you always start from where you are and don't impose an artificial ideal on your system. So with that, we finished the last class, and there was a question. So now I will open the forum to that question, and then from there we will continue the rest of the discussion. Yes, you can ask your question now. Are you online?
Namaste.
Namaste.
The question was the last time I started the question, right? So it is about if someone wants to change a habit, they understand, like they understand every time when they read, when they listen, they understand it. But then every time when they begin, it may stay sustained for 2, 3 days, and then again they go back to this thing, and then they understand what is tapas and all. Intellectually they understand all these things, but then how to keep up the sustaining that practice without giving a
You
Sunday
also said
holiday or
something like
anything.
they keep going back to the
Old
same old
habits.
habit and ask for compassion. If you say compassionate approach, how much we should accommodate, something like
Yes, yes. That is a way. That day I just asked as it is from that time, but mainly this is for the practitioner how to keep up it, and then
that.
the accommodating thing, I think is different one.
Okay.
Anyway, this is what I remember for the practitioner, like how to keep up the practice or any new learnings without going back to the old habits as a habitual error.
Two things. One, anushtana, a daily ritual. Ritual in the sense, not a worship ritual. Ritual in the sense, some set of small actions that make a significant impact on it. Right? Every day on a regular time, you do something for the sake of, you do something concrete with your body, with your senses, with your mind. In action, in terms of action, you have to do something that will reinforce your commitment to that virtue or the practice that you have decided to follow. That is at the action level. Then at the thought level, we have to think about and discuss about and read about the advantages of following that and the consequences and the disadvantages of not following that, and the consequences of falling back into the old habit. The negative consequences of my old habit patterns and the positive consequences of taking up this tapasya or this discipline, that whatever we have studied about. So reading, discussing, and associating with people or groups that are very well established in this practice. Satsanga. These three things. Sangha, the right company of people who are well established in this practice that will inspire, motivate us, and their virya in the practice, their virya in the tapasya, that is the virya, that the vigor that they have developed inside in them, that will influence our subconscious mind in a subtle way, and without our knowledge we will be motivated to practice. And also we will have to study a little bit and keep in touch with the literature that and the stories of people who have done that and obtained success, things like that. You know, this is all at the what you call as vitarka badhane pratipaksha bhavanam. Whenever there is vitarka, means when there is a contrary argument in mind, where our intellect is hijacked by the habit, our thinking faculty is hijacked by the power of the habit. How the power of the habit hijacks the intellect? We have a shloka in Bhagavad Gita that says, when you keep on thinking about the same thing, you develop attachment. From attachment comes desire. From frustrated desire comes anger. From anger comes, from desire comes delusion. And from frustrated desire comes anger. From anger comes delusion. And from delusion comes disturbance in the smriti. And from the disturbance in the smriti means the right association. Like you recollect the right thing at the right time for the right purpose. So that is smriti. And because smriti is not working properly, your buddhi, your judgment fails. When your judgment fails, you become incapable of following the goal that you have fixed for yourself. There is the jayate vishayan bhuksaha angas tejo vajayate, that the shloka. So the very fact, so this is awareness. So we can maintain a journal and also see what are the situations when the old habit gets triggered. It's a samskara. See, any samskara in us gets triggered when, generally because our mind is outward, the samskara for an old habit gets triggered in the right environment. When there is a conducive environment connected to that old habit, that triggers the samskara. For example, Alcoholic Anonymous, that group, when they are treating about alcoholic addiction, they will say, so they do positive reinforcement. They will wear some band badge and all that, going sober for so many days and things like that. And then they will also tell them not to go to the certain parties or go with the certain gangs who encourage that person to drink, to avoid the circle and change the circle, right? Satsanga. It's the same thing. The behavior reinforcement is the same. That's what we had. We had the Pratipaksha Bhavana. Vitarka means that contrary idea that triggers the habit. So first cut all the environment that triggers the habit. That is called Damyata. Then you process your thought pattern in the light of the guidance that you have received either from the teacher or from the scriptures or from your support group or satsanga, right? So you process that. Or you feel tempted, so immediately call someone, it's called from your support circle, from the satsanga group. You can always call someone and talk to them or chat with them. They can help you to, they can, through a conversation, they will, when you express that in a conversation, it becomes very easy for you to become aware of the inner urges that are pushing the habit. So when you are aware of the inner urges that are pushing the habit, because mind is outward, conversation acts like a mirror for you to see it for yourself. So when you see how your mind is working, suddenly you will become aware of the error in judgment that we are making. And then immediately it will be easy to get back to the commitment that we have taken. So these are all the ways in which we prevent it and get back to reinforcing the new discipline that we have given a commitment for. The second part of the question.
That flow of accommodating question is not coming up for me. So when I remember that, I will
But
ask.
I remember that.
You said something.
So one thing that the that I see is that when I talk about Adhikari Veda, so you say you are not qualified for this, take up the practice that you are cut out for and all that. It is very easy to say, see, I am not cut out for this practice. I can't do all these things. These things won't come for me. I'm not good enough for this. So like for example, in spiritual circles, in ashrams and everywhere, I have seen people telling this, oh, we are all very normal people. We are all just worldly people. We cannot do all those things. We cannot, meditate for so long. We cannot do that. We cannot do this. We cannot. They create a narrative about themselves to justify their own helplessness and indulgence. Sri Ramana Maharshi used to say the first obstacle for self-realization is thinking that I am not self-realized and I will not be self-realized. Self-realization is meant for some big yogis and mahatmas and not for me. That is the main obstacle. Why do you think that you cannot? That's what he used to say. The problem comes because ours, unfortunately, I don't know when it started. Unfortunately, we have ended up becoming because this is not the original approach. Unfortunately, we started becoming a hero worshipping culture. You be it politics, we always need a hero. This fan club hero, looking up to somebody. So the same thing extends to the Guru and to the Mahatmas and to the Siddhas Rishis and all that. See, they are all Siddhas, they are all yogis, they are all Swamijis, Mahatmas. We are normal people. No, it's not like that. How did that guy become a Mahatma? That guy became a Siddha Purusha. Now, but he was a pig. He also started as a worm or a pig or a dog or some janma, and then he became a human, a normal human with absolutely nothing, and then slowly, rising in dharma because of punyas acquired over various lives and all that. He was born in a conducive condition to do, and also in this life, when he practiced, when he got the insights or the inspiration, so he pursued that purusha, he pursued that spiritual goal and dedicated and put some effort into it and fought his or her own battles, and only then they became a Siddha Purusha. Right? Even if you are a Siddha Purusha, they have their own problems to face. Even if you are a great Mahatma, you have your own level of problems to face. It's like a poor man or a rich man. Poor man is struggling to probably get his next meal. A great businessman is probably struggling to raise some 2 billion rupees for his next project, and he is trying to sustain his status in the billionaire club. So everybody has their own problem. So even if you go to a great Mahatma who is a very spiritually accomplished person, that person is also, there is the concept of what you call as nidhyasana. That person also has to sustain the commitment. And that person also has certain practical issues based on their prarabdha karma. So the point is not to do some hero worship of somebody else and then put yourself in a framework that is convenient. Once having decided, with the help of the teacher, scriptures, introspection and everything, that I am cut out for this, and you have experienced some positive signs and you are able to do that. If you are able to do for some time, obviously we are going to face an obstacle or a difficulty or a challenging period where it becomes very difficult to sustain the commitment and to move further. To moving further is difficult. So when you start learning something, as much as we get attracted to a certain type of sadhana. Okay, there is a certain level of samskara that we have inside acquired from our past birth. So that samskara resonates with that sadhana or that type of commitment that we have taken, and makes us to adopt that discipline and try it out. That is because we already have some samskara. Because we already have a samskara, that is going to, whatever is the commitment we have taken up, is going to be easy for some time. Until we have reached a point that we have already acquired in our past life or earlier in our life, whatever we have already accomplished, up to that point, it's called as a bhumika, means a plane of achievement. Whatever plane of achievement we have arrived at before, until that plane of achievement, it's going to be a cakewalk. No, it's like, wow, it's all so easy. I'm blessed and I'm so privileged to it'll be like that. Very nice. It's all roses. It's like a honeymoon period. So once that once I have reached the point that I had already acquired before, which had created the samskara for me to pursue in this life, right? So once I have reached that point, it comes to a plateau. And after that, it becomes difficult. Then the challenge starts. Then I have to push myself. So that is when I can always fall back upon some lower aim and say, I am not cut out for this. I started in some fake enthusiasm. So I will choose some other sadhana. I'll do something else. No. So that is when we have to take the right kind of help from teachers, from Sangha, from literature, from introspection, and from commitment and schedule and tapasya, and go to the next level of achievement, not to fall back upon. So what I talked about as adhikari beda, and choosing the right, you have to accept yourself as you are and start from there. All that applies to choosing the right kind of spiritual practices and commitments and tapasya. You decide your right level of commitment based on all your adhikaritva, your level of empowerment. You understand your level of empowerment, and you take up the commitment based on that. You don't take a too big a step right away. Start in a small step and go. So choosing the commitment is when we are talking about adhikari bheda. Having chosen the commitment and having succeeded in it for up to a point of time, we are then after that, when you are facing the challenge, that is not the time to talk about adhikari bheda. It's then it becomes like Arjuna's problem in the war. He was fighting all his life. There was no problem. He was killing thousands of people. He was the best warrior, archer. He was killing people left and right all his life. Not a problem. But when he comes to the Kurukshetra war, there he sees his uncle, his grandfather, his teacher, his everybody, all the relatives. No, so they are mine. So his me and mine. That gives him the delusion and the sorrow, shoka and moha. So he's become small-minded. That's why Sri Krishna asked him, where from this miserliness have come upon you? Why are you so small-minded suddenly? Means he is judging the situation based on his emotional comfort. He is not judging the situation based on the dharmic standards. The dharmic standard states he has to fight adharma as a kshatriya. So the whole Bhagavad Gita teaching starts from there, right? So the whole problem of Arjuna in the war is not because then he gives all kinds of logic. He gives all kinds of logic. That is, it's not. What is the point of winning the war when all your relatives and all the people that you love and care for, they're all dead? And what is the point of winning the war? I will leave everything and go away. I can't do this anymore. All that. So that is because of the delusion. Because of the delusion and attachment, and because seeing the situation through eye and mind and personal emotion. Because of that. So the same thing applies here. So once having taken a commitment and tasted some success, when I'm hitting a plateau and when I'm hitting a challenging zone, that is not the time to think about adhikari bheda. At that time, you are already adhikari. That's why you are on that, and that's why your guru has put you on that. That's why you have taken up this path and you have come this far. Now is the time to reach the next level. So you have to take it like that. So adhikari bheda is to be used, my self-empowerment, my aptitude for sadhana, all that should be used, my aptitude for a certain commitment should be used at the time of choosing the commitment. So there was an Thiruvalluvar says, think well and with courage take up the commitment. Having taken up the commitment, the action, backing up after that is disgrace. எண்ணி துணிக கர்மம் துணிந்த பின் எண்ணுவம் என்பது இழுக்கு. Tamil Tirukkural, very nice. So it's not about disgrace, it's not about ego, it's about because the same problem is going to come no matter which commitment I take. The same problem of giving up at the point of challenge is going to come no matter, even the things that I am cut out for will have challenges. That is why in one point where in Bhagavad Gita it says, even death by following one's own dharma is better than success tasted in doing somebody else's dharma. It's a very profound statement. So we have to treat this statement based on the commentaries and all that. So I don't want to do that. Probably the Bhagavad Gita class will handle that. But what I'm trying to tell is, once I understand what I am cut out for, the whole logic is about making myself better and better at it. The decision is not to be made on the result, but the decision is to be made on the level of meaningfulness and inner harmony that it gives me while I am at it. We say, right? We say that this somehow feels right. See, it feels right, but it's so difficult. So then we have to see how to handle the difficulty, not change to something else which is less difficult. So that's how we should approach this Adhikari Bheda. And this approach is very useful for a lasting happiness that is full of meaningfulness. So you can always feel, get a lot of fun in a party, then come home and feel miserable later, and then feel miserable in the next morning. And also, you have all these irresponsible relationships that you pick up. That happens a lot these days. Peer pressure, social pressure, fake narratives. Because of all that, there is too much influence and too many interactions from too many quarters on a person. And then it becomes very difficult to discern and become available for what is naturally clicking for us. What is naturally clicking for us, even to become aware of that becomes a huge problem. Dharma and all that comes later. My swadharma, my what feels okay for me, even to identify that has become very difficult amidst all this noise. Right. So it's very important is to increase sattva in my environment. Increase sattva in my environment practically means getting rid of unnecessary distractions that are not in line with my purpose. Externally, environment, people, things, unnecessary commitments, fake narratives. Getting rid of all that is part of sattva. And to create a conducive environment that is motivating and inspiring, or to be associated with an environment or a group that is motivating and inspiring for this well ascertained purpose, that is also comes under sattva. Right? So all these things will make me available. Sattva means knowledge, awareness, and clarity. So to create a situation, a situation that creates less psychological noise, I will put it like a situation or an environment that creates less psychological noise is very, very important for a life that is devoted to happiness. Even if it is material success, let it be simple material success, making money, no problem. Even for that, when you read all these self-help books on success, it talks about this, the same thing, right? So sattva in the environment and sattva inside me means this clarity, which comes from lack of noise, outside noise, inside noise, noise at the level of experience, sensory experience, noise at the level of concepts. Too many concepts clashing in the head is also noise. That is a kind of rajas, it's a vata. One school says this, another school says this, another school says this, and I don't know which is right, which is wrong, and then I don't know what to choose. Then I'm very confused because everybody talks like an expert, right? So all these confusions will come. So that is when we need the what is called as a trustworthy mentor. A trustworthy mentor becomes very useful. So if you are going to pursue prosperity, even for prosperity, you need a trustworthy mentor. If you want to, any field, if you see globally, not only in India, globally in any field you see, not only for spiritual, for material things, for making biryani, right? I heard there is some to become a biryani master. You need to work under a biryani master for 10 to 12 years. Only then you can really become biryani master. Such a serious thing it is. Like a chef, you have a mentor. You want to be a surgeon, you study surgery under somebody, then you go with you spend time with him, across various surgeries. You have a mentor. You want to become a lorry driver, you become a cleaner, and then you go with the driver. You go on many trips, and then you learn slowly. You might have gotten your license, heavy vehicle license, and all that. You might have been a PhD in automobile engineering. Still, if you want to become a lorry driver, you have to be a cleaner, and then go with the driver for some time. So you put hours on that and become familiar with that, all the subtle aspects, and then you develop the trade inside. So this aspect of having a guide, a mentor, for the purpose of whatever field in which I want to pursue success and happiness, that becomes very important. And this is where punya comes. To get the right mentor at the right time, it's completely a function of grace, divine grace and punya. So prayers can help in that. So that's how you do it, and there is no compromise on that. So that is the problem for many people nowadays, because uh, having information, young people tend to think having information makes them ready for a task. Information doesn't make you ready for a task. The information must get converted into samskara. The information should get internalized. The internalizing the information, and that coming out of you as a samskara combined with your originality, that is what makes you good on something, on any field, on any pursuit, be it material or physical. And that dedication and the patience for nurturing and creating the right samskaras for the sake of the particular goal that we have set for ourselves becomes a very important factor for uh, success in sustainable and long lasting, reasonably long lasting uh, achievement of happiness in various worldly pursuits, otherworldly pursuits, materialistic spiritual pursuits, which is what I call as otherworldly pursuit. So other than jnana, all spiritual pursuit is materialistic. So from that point of view, I said, yeah. So that will be the basic discourse on happiness. The eternal happiness, we have already looked at it. So any questions from anybody in this discussion, and any other question that have been coming up in your head?
I do, but let's wait for the others, and then I will ask after that if there's nobody. Sure.
Right. Sure. Yeah, usually no one asks. It's okay, because nobody spends time in their free time. That's my assumption. Nobody spends time in their free time looking at their own practice and mind and all that. It's all about going and listening, and then you forget and go back into your rut, and then you come back next time and listen. It's like Christians going for church on Sunday. So there is no prayer, nothing in the other days. I'm not talking about Christian. I'm talking about the common man. It's like somebody going to temple on Friday. You go to temple on Friday, and or you do some. Whenever there is guilt or pressure, or because there is some courtesy, you have put a schedule, go and do something, and the rest of the time there is no sitting and serious thinking about stuff. That's why there is no, usually there is no participation. That's how it is. So I don't think anybody else has. You can ask.
All right. So the learning, as you were saying, towards sattva or towards the dharma, when we learn one who doesn't have those kind of background, like let's say business
I'm only
background or
using
like,
these words. In every background there is sattva and there is dharma. That's what we discussed.
yes, yes. I mean the background in terms of not the, uh, I'm saying the person's old background, the
Ah,
one like practitioners, uh, past, and then learning something and trying to change or like having awareness to become better than the past. In this
mm.
process, the old like habits, one thing I asked earlier, the company, how to let go, or is it like important, or is it okay to party one day and then go and practice one day? Like, is it possible to keep up different kind of company, or when you're, as you said, the company? So how to let go of
Ah,
the company to leave, or is like there are people or I'll always ask like, is it not why to let go of everything? Everything is needed. We are all in the community, so we can do this, and also I can do party, and I can also do meditation. I can go meditation camp at the same time. Next week I can go party.
all right,
So
all right.
how to see this one? Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. So let us put it as the lifestyle and versus sadhana. Okay. So they have to become clear. For example, if there is a student with whom there is a discussion, you can discuss with them and clarify. Their practice of meditation and yoga and any other thing is for the sake of de-stressing them. You know, so for example, you do this corporate yoga. Right? They don't go deep. They don't go deep. They just graze on the surface. They don't ask deep questions. It's only for de-stress. So you acquire some stress, you pick up some stress because of your work or because of the party side effect. You drank in the party last night or whatever. So today you do some kriyas, you have some hangover and some heaviness. So you do some kriyas, some hatha yoga or whatever, and then have some herbal juice, detox, and all that. And then you clear it, and then you are ready for doing uh, your everyday work. And then you take a break, and then you get ready for party again. So this person's nishta, his commitment, is for the party. It's not for the practice. So the practice, meditation, or whatever that they are learning, they are using it as a management tool to manage the side effects of their whatever is the lifestyle that they are pursuing. So the goals of yoga is not their purushartha. Their purushartha is artha or kama. Their purushartha is pleasure and other things. They are using yoga as an accessory to manage the side effects of whatever they are pursuing. That's how we have to see. So this is the question they have to answer for themselves, and probably we have to bring it up in a conversation and make them realize. And if they say no, 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 that is not my goal, but that is something inevitable, that means there is a question of values. So it is a question of understanding what is important for themselves. Then we have to see prioritizing. So then it is a problem that that person doesn't have the right value structure. The person has not developed a very clear value structure based on which that person is able to make a judgment, the right judgment. Right. Also, sometimes what happens on the part of the teacher, a yoga teacher or a meditation teacher, this happened to me also when I was young. We tend to assume too much of a role in the other person's life. That mistake we can do as teachers, it's possible. Many teachers do that. They assume too much of the role and they poke their nose on every aspect of the other person's life, when they have not opened themselves up and asked us to interfere. See, if they have asked if they have asked for our intervention, then we can intervene and then we can point out and we can guide or admonish or whatever. But if they have not asked it, if they have not surrendered for the purpose or whatever for which they have come to learn, then I am not I am not the guru, I am not the guide, I am only a instructor. So I will have to understand that I am only an instructor. The person has come for some information and some techniques and a little bit of help. And more than that, the person is not ready to open up for intervention. Then we don't have to intervene. They have their life, they're part of that, they're part of the whole collective karma. It's not our problem. So this all error can happen at the side of the teacher. So that as a teacher, one has to look at oneself. See, am I overstepping the role that other person has granted for me? So it becomes my job to understand where my role ends. So there are two things. The person may verbally say, no, 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 I want you to do everything, but actually it may not reflect in the action. If it does not reflect in the action, we can tell them, see, whatever is the role that you have given me, you are not responding to that. So I have to decide what is my limit. So I think I will, from now on, I will not, I will not deal with these things. We will deal only with this level. So when you are ready for the next level of commitment, we will see. And one can take it slow. It's not a problem. It doesn't have to be all, I know one big guru, for him it is all surrender or nothing. If you don't completely surrender, you don't let him poke his nose on every aspect of your life, and no, he will bulldoze through everything in your life, and then he will rebuild you. That is good. That is good for some people. Not all are capable of that. So many people feel very uneasy around him because they are not ready for that level of surrender, and he gets very frustrated and he gets very angry, upset, and it is a lot of disharmony, and because the person is a swami, people cannot say no, and it's too much, very complicated. So this is because the teacher assumes too much of a role in a person's life. That we have to ask ourselves, that are we doing that? After clarifying that, maybe we can deal with the person. And as a student, if I am a student, if I am, one day I am meditating and I know vegan and all that, and then suddenly I go and have some chicken, and I say I want to take a yogic lifestyle, I want to become a yoga teacher, for example. Let us say I want to become a yoga teacher. I want to teach yoga, meditation, and everything. And so that means I'm taking it as a full-time commitment. Being a yoga teacher means the lifestyle part is a full-time commitment. I can be a part-time yoga teacher. While I'm working in a bank, I'm working in some other organization, or I'm working in some factory. I can be an auto rickshaw driver, no problem. I can be a part-time yoga teacher, but I cannot be a part-time yogi. So my lifestyle commitment has to be full-time if I want to be a yoga teacher. That is what is expected traditionally. So as a yoga teacher, I cannot eat meat. As simple as that, unless I am doing some specific, some tantric practice, or it's part of some yajna or some other thing, or some panchamakara sadhana and all that. Maybe a part of that it could be, but otherwise no. Otherwise no. As a simple normal indulgence, you are not expected to do that. You are not expected to do that, and say justify that. If at all that person ends up, it should be treated as, because that person ends up having non-veg or some drinking or then partying on compromised style, then they should accept it as a lapse. It should be taken as a lapse and as an indulgence, which the person should correct over a period of time and try to become free of. Not justify that and then change your yoga theory to fit your indulgence. That is very clear, absolutely clear. But if I am a normal practitioner, I'm just I just started practicing yoga, and I've just started learning some asana, some pranayama. I've heard about, I'm trying out vegetarian lifestyle, and I'm trying out some spiritual practices. Then what helps here is taking a vow. Taking a vow helps. It's called a vratam. You take up a promise. For example, when you join Buddhist cult, they will ask you to do that 5 kinds of refuge. Buddham Saranam, taking refuge in the Buddha, taking refuge in the Sangha, they have that thing. So you have to do that, go through that commitment ritual before you enter the meditation camp. They have that. So, or you become a monk or you become a student of that Sangha, right? Before you join the Sangha, you have to take up that commitment. So, similarly, what we can do is we can, for every individual, through a dialogue, because nowadays it's all about, independence and all that. So, if a person wants to pursue this, can have a dialogue like coaching, through a dialogue, the student can be facilitated to make a written commitment for themselves. Write it down, make a commitment, write it down, and correct it, revisit it, see what you can do, and the time period to which I will have this commitment. I will not, let us say, uh, I will not go for late night parties where drinking is involved, and I will not drink, for example, right? So that your morning practice is not disturbed at whatever. So suppose you take that commitment, then they are not supposed to do that. So if they say that no, I cannot give up all those things, that is my lifestyle. Let us say somebody is a model. Okay? So they have to socialize and they have to do certain things. They cannot compromise. Then the level of commitment in yoga has to be decided in a way that their lifestyle permits. So whatever is the commitment that they can sustain based on their lifestyle, they can take that much and then follow that. See what they can do and then follow that. And gradually then maybe they revisit that and see if they want to do more. Instead of taking up very big things like, I will I will become and take a yogic lifestyle, and then you go back and you see you cannot do that. Then you have too many emotional conflicts, and then you miss this, you miss that. Then you revisit your commitment and rework your commitment. That is why a temporary time period is good. 3 months, 6 months, I will not do this. So I am going to do 20 cycles Nadi Shuddhi in the morning and the evening every day. That means a certain kind of a diet. If I don't follow that diet, the pranayama with kumbhaka is going to give me side effects. So I will have to follow this diet. So for the 6 months, you follow the discipline. If you are not following the discipline and you make a lapse with the other things that are supportive context, then you have to put a break and get back to form and then start again. So that's how it is done. So there is there has to be some introspection both on the side of the teacher and on the side of the student. That's how I see it, especially in our times nowadays. Because in most cases, full commitment is not possible because their purushartha is not the same. The purusha, their goals, their personal goal is not the goal that yoga is cut out for. Whatever is the yoga sadhana is taking towards, whatever the yoga sadhana goal, the yoga sadhana is meant for, that goal is not their goal. So in commercial yoga, this happens, because it's like package. Everybody wants to come for a package. I will take a little piece for the sake of my convenience. So their goal is socialization. Their goal is having parties. Their goal is all the worldly pleasures. They somehow come to yoga because they have some samskara. They are able to appreciate a little bit. They are able to enjoy some kind of practice. Then it's a teacher's job to give them the right amount of practice and the right level of practice commitments that allows them to be themselves. That's about it. And then over a period of time, they will see that it is better than not doing any yoga. I will see like that. It is better than not doing anything at all, because at least if they do some little bit, there is a little bit of sattva experience time to time. And one fine morning, they will see, man, why am I wasting my time with all that? And then they may come for a discussion, then they may be ready for a next level of commitment. So why to leave the chance? Because adharma is the norm of the day. Adharma is the norm of the day. So we have to be flexible to let people be themselves. But we can always reduce the intensity of the sadhana to the level which lets them be. That is better than being without any sadhana. That's how I will see. And as a teacher, a person should always remember not to overstep one's role. We may not be as important in their life as we think that we are. Probably we are not important. They have other things that are important. So why to go and impose ourselves on them? Not me. That's how I see.
Thank you. Nandri.
So any other question has come? There's nothing on the chat. Shall we finish the class? 7-1. Okay. Shanti mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tatsat